and VDM Law. Vermont attorneys serving the community since 1977. The Central Vermont Humane Society's Walk for the Animals, Saturday, June 11th at 9:30 on the State House lawn. See you there.
The Brady Farkas Show is produced and funded by WDEV and the Radio Vermont Group. We welcome listener feedback. Email your comments to wdev@radiovermont.com.
The teams you care about.
Mac Jones is good. That's not the question. The question is he good enough to win repeatedly in this loaded AFC?
The stories that matter to you.
If I'm Xander Bogaerts, I need three things in order to get over that insulting contract offer.
This is your home for New England sports.
Jason Tatum, superstar. Book it.
This is the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
What's up, everybody? Brady Farkas Show on a Friday right here on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. Another full show today, all 90 minutes, right up until 7 o'clock. Red Sox, Mariners tonight. Yep, we're doing this again. Time for me to potentially be really angry at what's happening. We'll find out how the weekend went on Monday. Our coverage begins at 9:10. First pitch is 10:10. It's Marco Gonzalez against Rich Hill, a battle of a couple of soft-tossing lefties, although Rich Hill was a little harder than Marco at this point. We'll talk Sox Mariners. You'll hear a little bit from my conversation I taped today with Jason Churchill of Prospect Insider. We'll talk about a proclamation regarding Chris Sale's return for the Red Sox. And in about 15 minutes, Mike Trimboli is going to stop by. The former UVM hoop star just inducted into the UVM Athletics Hall of Fame last weekend. He'll stop by again. The newly minted Catamount Hall of Famer Mike Trimboli in about 15 minutes. You can get in, as always, on the Napa-Morrisville, Napa-Waterbury text line. That's 802-585-3026. It is your locally owned Napa stores in Waterbury and Morrisville. Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter as well. You can get in comments anywhere.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And here we go.
The opening thoughts on the Brady Farkas Show are brought to you by Sticks and Stuff and by Swanton Lumber, Vermont's most complete locally owned home center with locations in Enosburg, Derby, Middlesex, St. Albans, and at Swanton Lumber. They're online at sticksandstuff.com. When it comes to the NBA Finals and when it comes to Game 4 tonight, I think we're kind of done with the excruciatingly minute details and minute coaching points. I think for the Boston Celtics right now, we are at the point where it's just go play. That's it. I think it is just go play. I was sitting here today and I was thinking about the show and I was thinking about segments. I was thinking about topics and I was thinking, like, do I really want to talk about pick and roll defense? Do I really want to talk about drop coverage? Do I really want to talk about how this team defends the paint? I just decided that I don't, because I'm not saying that that stuff is irrelevant at this point. But for me right now, for the Celtics, it comes down to simply this: come out and be aggressive. For the Boston Celtics right now, I think it is less about strategy and it is more just simply about going out, playing hard, giving effort, and then executing off of that effort. I said the same thing in Game 3, so I don't want to just repeat myself. But if the Celtics come out tonight with more energy, more effort, and more aggression, they will win this game. They have enough guys that can score, enough bodies that can play, enough length, enough athleticism. I think right now, at this moment, they are better than the Golden State Warriors. They are better as we sit right now. If they can just come out, meaning the Celtics, with the right mindset and the right attitude, they can win this game and they can go up 3-1. And that's not a given, because we've seen the Celtics kind of loaf through games or loaf through halves in these playoffs. We've seen them be turned off when they should have been turned on. So it's not a given that this happens, but we need to see the Celtics come out and just be ready to go from the opening tip. This crowd is going to be brutal on Golden State. The crowd is going to be incredibly lively, both on Klay Thompson and on Draymond Green. If you can come out and match the crowd's liveliness and you can take control early, that's it. For me, the talking points are now close to that simple. Of course, there are bullet points. Of course, there are adjustments. There are actual basketball things that matter. But for me, at this point in Game 4 with a 2-1 series lead, where the Celtics are now in control, effort and execution, that is at the top of my list. That is at the top of my list. You can talk about pick and roll defense. You can talk about drop coverage all you want. It all plays a role. But effort, that is the number one thing. That is what we need to have tonight. Celtics cannot come out and loaf through the first quarter and through the first half. If the Celtics come out and they're down 2 at the break, you're setting yourselves up to get down 12 going into the fourth quarter because of how good the Warriors are in the third. If you come up and you're up 14 again at the break, you can once again absorb the Warriors' third quarter run. Come out with effort, attitude, and aggression. That is number one on my. If I am Ime Udoka, if I am Damon Stoudemire and his staff, that's it. That is number one for me. Come out and play hard. Play hard. Play really hard. Because the Celtics, I think they are better right now, and they're healthier at this point. We know Rob Williams is banged up, but Iguodala's not 100% for Golden State. Gary Payton hasn't played in a while. Steph Curry's ankle, we just don't know about. He looked okay on some video I saw, but is he 100%? I don't know. So the Celtics are healthier. They've got the crowd in their favor. The crowd is going to be brutal on the Warriors. Take advantage of it. Get up early. Get out fast. If you do that, you win this game, and you are 1 win away from banner number 18. Something we have waited more than a decade to say. The Celtics NBA champions would be 1 win away if you come out with effort, attitude, and aggression in this Game 4 on your home court. I mean, legit, like, actual-wise, this is not a must-win game for the Celtics, but they can send a huge message tonight, and they can absolutely, when you've got a team where your foot is on their throat, you've got to capitalize. And the Celtics have that opportunity right now. Are they going to be a team with killer instinct, which they have lacked at times in these playoffs, or are they going to be a team that just bends at the worst possible time and breaks at the worst possible time? If you're looking for coaching point stuff, if you're looking for strategery, I offer you these few points, but they're all secondary on my list after just playing harder. 1, I think Robert Williams needs to be a factor again. He needs to play more than the 14 minutes he played in Game 2. I will be curious how he responds, right? He's listed as questionable. I'm sure he will play, but how he responds after just 1 day off, right? Between Game 2 and 3, he had 2 days off. 14 minutes played in Game 2, 26 in Game 3. What does he give you tonight? I don't know. They need him to be closer to the 26 than the 14. He's a huge factor. Number 2, I think the Celtics need to not get baited by Draymond Green. He's going to come out with a different energy. I believe that. His energy for himself will be different. The Celtics need to not fixate on him. Play your game. I don't mind if they muddy the waters with Draymond, especially if he's already got a tee like he did in Game 2. I don't mind that at all. But you can't go in with an agenda about him. You largely ignored his antics in Game 3. You need to ignore them again as much as possible in Game 4. Number 3 on the coaching point bullet list for Ime Udoka. Keep taking away the Warriors' supporting cast. The depth that I thought was there for Golden State just hasn't been there. Steph has been great, but he hasn't gotten enough help, and he hasn't gotten enough consistent help. Clay was great in Game 3, but Jordan Poole didn't do much. Otto Porter did nothing. In Game 1, Porter was good, but Clay didn't do much. It hasn't been consistent. And if the Celtics can keep making that the case and make Steph have to do everything, they will have a great opportunity to win. Colin Cowherd of Fox Sports Radio agrees.
I thought it was crazy for KD to leave the Warriors. And Brooklyn's been a mess. But you know what Steph Curry misses in this series? He misses Kevin Durant. Clay's been good, but you're watching the series. Great Steph plus good Clay. Bruh, not enough.
It hasn't been enough. If the Celtics can continue to take away those role players and make Steph do everything, I trust they can win this game. There is one thing from the Warriors standpoint I heard today that I found very interesting. When Kevon Looney is on the floor for Golden State, they outscore the Celtics by 15 points. When Kevon Looney is on the floor, they outscore the Celtics by 15 points. Looney has played increasingly less in this series. Draymond has played 45 minutes more than Looney. I don't quite know why, but Kevon Looney seems to be a difference maker for Golden State. We will see if Steve Kerr goes to him more here in Game 4. He played 25 minutes in Game 1, 21 in Game 2, and 17 in Game 3. We will see if he plays more tonight and if he can be that difference maker. I'm pumped for it. I am pumped for it. We're going to have Game 5 of the NBA Finals on Sunday right here on DEV. Could be the clincher. We'll see. You can make it that way if you can win tonight. 9 o'clock, Celtics Warriors Game 4. It is the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. When we come back, Mike Trimboli is going to stop by the show. The former Catamount Hoop legend, just recently inducted into the UVM Athletics Hall of Fame. Mike Trimboli, what was the moment like when he got inducted? That's next on DEV.
WDEV is positively thrilled to take part in this year's Central Vermont Humane Society's Walk for the Animals. Join other humans and their furry friends Saturday, June 11th at 9:30 on the State House lawn. From there, we'll parade through Montpelier. Prizes will be awarded for Best Doggy Costume and Best Doggy Trick. Media support for the Walk for the Animals is brought to you in part by Curtis Lumber. There's a Curtis Lumber near you. Find out where at curtislumber.com. Ladder One Grill. Steaks, burgers, brick oven pizzas, calzones, pasta, seafood, and more in downtown Barrie. And VDM Law. Vermont attorneys serving the community since 1977. The Central Vermont Humane Society's Walk for the Animals, Saturday, June 11th at 9:30 on the State House lawn. See you there.
WDEV at 90 is brought to you in part by New England Municipal Resource Center, NEMRIC, proudly supporting local government, local businesses, and WDEV.
Music in the Alley is back with the first event of the season on June 17th. Karubo is a singer-songwriter who will be playing African folk music, Afro-pop, and Afro-jazz with other influences from Brazilian music, jazz, blues, and more. Blackback Pub will be serving up great food as you meet your neighbors and enjoy the new Phoenix Rising art installation located in the alley at 5 Stowe Street. Axel's Gallery will also be hosting an artist reception for painter Casey Lawyer. The next Music in the Alley events will be July 22nd and August 26th. Learn more at axelsgallery.com/events and discover the rich art scene in Waterbury. It's not quite Independence Day, but Waterbury is ready to celebrate. The town's annual Independence Day celebration is coming up on June 25th with all the fun and festive activities you know and love. This year's theme is Freedom and Unity, and the parade kicks off at 4 p.m. with the Green Mountain Mile fun run down Main Street just before. Rusty Parker Memorial Park opens up with food, vendors, and kids' activities at 5, and a concert from Barbie and Bones starts at 6. When dusk hits, find a nice spot and watch a spectacular fireworks display over downtown. Learn more at discoverwaterbury.com/events. Discover all the summer fun you can have in Waterbury.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard has led to a lot of firsts for me. It paid for me to be the first person in my family to go to school. That education got me to the first day at my dream job, which I can still hold while I serve part-time. That job and the home loan benefits I got from the Army National Guard helped me buy my first house. I also know that I will be one of the first to respond if my community ever needs me.
Sponsored by the Vermont Army National Guard. Aired by the Vermont Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Make your opinion heard by texting onto the Brady Farkas Show at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show, right here on this Friday on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. Deviating from our NBA Finals conversation to talk a little more localized hoops right now. Joining me on the phone line is Mike Trimboli, former UVM men's basketball star, class of 2009. Just this past weekend got inducted into the UVM Athletics Hall of Fame. It was supposed to be a 2020 shindig, but, COVID pushed it back, so here we are in 2022. Mike, congratulations. Thanks for being with us. How are you?
Great, Brady. How are you doing? Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Excited to be on.
Well, I appreciate you being with me as well. Again, look, this was supposed to be in 2020. Did the extra year and a half help you perfect your speech?
Not even close. I think I was editing it at the table as other speeches were happening. It was awesome. We really got a good turnout and a lot of support, a lot of people that I was surprised to see show up that I haven't seen in a long time. So it was just really nice being in a room filled with people. And honestly, it was great to have such a heavy basketball crew that got inducted with myself, Marcus, May, Courtney, and Herb Brown. Colleen was a swimmer who also was inducted, but to have, essentially 5 of the 6 people being with basketball, it just seemed like a real, a basketball event, a basketball induction. So it was really cool to have that. And I think UVM and their admin did a really good job of putting everything together and coordinating, and it was seamless and perfect. So,
you had a lot of extra time, obviously, to think about that night, and build up to it. When it finally came, what was the experience like?
It's surreal. Like I messaged Krista Korn yesterday just to thank her again for having everyone around. For me, the induction, I took it as not it wasn't, even though I was getting inducted, it was just a celebration of the people that I played with, our era. And with Marcus also getting inducted, we had a bunch of our old teammates and everybody up. To have everyone up for the weekend, it wasn't just that one night. It was more so the entire weekend of hanging out with old teammates and really telling stories about the times that we had. For me, that was the part that I enjoyed the most. But the event itself was it was surreal in the sense that they had a whole video playing of you. And I haven't been around that type of environment, especially focused on me and the other inductees. It was really cool to experience. And I tried to just take it in as much as I could as it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. So being there with my wife, my kid, Gianna, was just an awesome experience and one that, in 10, 15 years from now, we'll look back on. We have the videos of everything and the pictures and talk about it. So I was super happy about how it was set up and ran and it was a fun weekend.
You still live locally, so were you the guy hosting all your old teammates? So I can picture you grilling on the back deck for everybody with a couple of adult beverages. You picture you holding court at the Trimboli residence. Is that how it went down?
Oh, 100%. I mean, we had golf set up. Yeah. I was doing the setup of the tee times, and I belong to Vermont National, which is a local course in the Burlington area in South Burlington. And the head pro calls me up, I think it was 2 days before, and he's like, Mike, you're good, but for you to have 5 tee times in one day is not, what's going on here? And so I told him the whole situation and the story about, that we had a bunch of guys coming up. And then by the end of our conversation, he was like, we could do it closest to the pin. We could do a long drive contest, whatever you want to do. So, yeah, we did that. We went to the beach a little bit, cooked out at Oak Ledge, which a local beach in the Burlington area. So it was good just to, I enjoy doing stuff like that and coordinating and really making it a full experience. And as you said, I'm local, so I'm the one that had to do it, but I enjoy doing it. So.
Former UVM hoop star and now UVM Athletics Hall of Famer Mike Trimboli with us here on the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM and FM and WDEVradio.com. You mentioned going in with Marcus Blakely, a guy you played with, I think, for 3 years at UVM. I think he was 1 year behind you. Man, I'm thinking about it now, and I'm just like, what a duo that must have been on the court at one time. To have two guys that eventually got into the Hall of Fame on the same team as running mates for 3 years, that must have been some pretty special times at Patrick Gym.
It was, I mean, he's electrifying in himself. And so to be able to play with somebody like that made my job a lot easier out there and really took a lot of pressure off of me. The duo that I say that, I hate to say compares, but, is on that level is the TJ Taylor duo. Prior to us getting there. And, somebody said it 2 nights ago in the Celtics game, like Jordan without Pippen, some of the, LeBron and whoever else he picks to choose on his team, right? Like you can't do it yourself. And to be able to have somebody like Marcus, who, I mean, his resume speaks for itself, to be able to do it with somebody like that, we spent a lot of time, and he has a kid that's 8 months old and 10 months old and is running around and played with our kid. And it was awesome. It was awesome to be with him in our dad stages now, in parallel. So, it made it a lot of fun and a lot of excitement in the gym during our time there.
I watched your video that played at the induction ceremony, and the guy who spoke on your behalf was a UVM professor. And he mentioned that you were under tremendous pressure to come in and follow the Sorrentine Coppenrath era. Did you feel that pressure while you were playing?
I did not. I grew up as like somebody that didn't have a huge name or huge recognition, outside. So anyone saw me, my whole thing was I had to prove myself through and through. So I always saw myself as an underdog. And when I came into the situation, I had the target on my own back to be like, you're nobody. So go out and prove yourself every single day, whether, it's in a championship game or it's day 20 of practice in preseason. I always felt like I had a target on my back and I had something to prove. So it was never like that for me. And it's funny that you say that, because a part of my speech that I completely left out, but I was kicking myself after the fact because my speech just went in a different way, as you said, spending 2 years practicing it changed completely that day. But, Al Rosa, the guy who spoke on my behalf, the UVM professor, when I was talking with him a couple of months ago about this day, and he was just saying the pressure and the target and what you had to do to come into it and what you did, even though we didn't win any championships, which is in my mind one of my downfalls as a player here, was not getting that championship. He was like, think about what you did and what you had to walk into following up that Syracuse team of 04-05 and what you guys you see teams or I say organizations, but college teams, when they have a good run, the next year they completely drop off. And very far and few between do you have a team that keeps that, bridges that gap and goes, especially when they had 5 seniors that had graduated and all of them were contributors. Martin Clemesh was really the only one on our team that was on that team that actually contributed in the day in, day out. A little bit, Kyle Suplicki did a little bit as well, but Martin was really the only one that was a part of that team. And so to take it from that team and continue on the success, I mean, the next 2 years, we went to back-to-back championships, lost to Albany, as you know. Yeah. And so, but, to continue that success through on, I think was success in itself. So.
Your career at UVM predates me being here. I've been here for 6 years now, so I didn't see you play in person. The numbers are staggering, right? Over 2,000 points. You graduated as the all-time leader in assists. I believe also as the all-time leader in minutes played. Why do people not talk about you as one of the all-time greats in this program's history? Because looking at the numbers, they probably should be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think, I don't know, to be honest. I think that there's something to be said with championships. I'm a huge proponent of winning. And if you don't get that one, it's tough in our world. And if you go back and you look on it, if you took our team and you put them into today's world, how would it have fared? I think we would have done probably, what that 04-05 team winning 3 out of 4. And Becker's an awesome coach. Maybe, that was it. Not to say, our coaches weren't great, but, you only get 4 years to do it, and you can, 4 times to do it really in terms of a conference tournament. But maybe that would have changed or elevated, my status. I didn't have a long professional career. I kind of got into the business world pretty early on, and took that route instead. So who knows? But, I just think that I'm very comfortable and happy with my career, and very comfortable and happy with the guys I played with. Like, it's hard. I now have some of my best friends are from those teams.
Yeah.
And you go around and you look at like years before me and years after me, and the disconnect that happens. And I'm proud and happy to say, like, in the video, Al Rosa said it. But I'm very much a family person, and really holding strong with those relationships. And that's something that I take away more than being a top, 10, top 5, whatever. Like, those relationships that I have with my teammates are special. So
I'll get you out of here on 2 quick kind of fun questions. I don't know if you heard this. Actually, I'm sure you have, because he told me he's told you. But we had Coach Brennan on Tuesday, and he said 624 career assists. He never saw one of them. That's just like shots fired that all you did was shoot. Do you have a response to Coach Brennan here on the air?
No, I like it. I wish all I did was shot the ball. No, honestly, like, it's funny because, I was known as that, but my whole thing was take what the defense gives you and try to win games. And so that's what when the defense was eyeing on me, my whole thing was to get other people involved. So it kind of went away from me a little bit, and then be able, if you go and watch, like, my points were never like, 20 points in the first half. A lot of my points came in the crunch time when our team needed them. And also at the foul line when teams were fouling us at the end of games. And if, there's a stat out there that's like, in the first half, I was probably like an 80% free throw shooter, but in like last 4 minutes of the game, I was like a 90-something% free throw shooter. And that's something that I love to, like, I don't remember what the numbers were, but I just knew at the end of the games that I was going to get fouled and I needed to make those free throws. And that's where a decent amount of my points came from.
So finally, you're class of 09. I graduated college 2012, so you're a little older, but we're from the same era, basically. We're from the baggy shorts era. I looked at the highlights. Tell me you were not wearing like a triple XL jersey. You were swimming in that thing.
I know. Well, at the time, too, it's like you got what you got. And I feel like nowadays it's like, it's all fashion, which is great. And I would still prefer maybe a little bit more length on my shorts, but it definitely wasn't form fitting. And at the time in my acceptance speech, I was looking up at the big giant screen and I was looking at my arms in that picture. I was like, God, where did those go?
Oh man.
Yeah. So hopefully I can get back there at some point. Yeah, the dad phase is really, I've fully embraced the dad bod. So.
Mike Trimboli, former UVM basketball star, class of 2009, inducted into the Catamount Athletics Hall of Fame this past weekend. Mike, thanks so much for the time. Congratulations. Be well, and we'll have you on again down the road sometime.
Awesome. Thanks, Brady. Good talking to you.
Yeah, good to talk to you as well. That's Mike Trimboli, former UVM hoop star. I want to bring him on more often. Mike is very, very insightful, and he's because he still lives in the area. I know he goes to and watches a lot of UVM hoops games. So I want to bring him on more often as we get into hoops season again. I don't want to wish away summer, but when we get to hoops season again, I want Mike to be more a part of the show. I played against Mike once in the Burlington Y League. I think I went for like 14, and he went for like 64. I mean, it was just insane where he was hitting from and where he was pulling from. He just did not miss. Beyond that, he said some things that are very interesting that I want to get to. And I got my own take on the interview you just heard. We'll talk about it next after the CBS National News Update here on DEV.
This is WDEV, Vermont's news station, owned and operated by the Radio Vermont Group. From the top of Sugarbush, 96.1 FM, WDEV Warren and Waitsfield, 96.5 W243 Barrie, 98.3 W252 CU Montpelier, along with our founding station, AM 550 WDEV Waterbury Montpelier, streaming at WDEVradio.com. 90 years of serving Vermont.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Wendy Gillette in New York. The latest inflation reading shows the cost of gas, food, and other goods and services is at a high not seen since December 1981. Consumer prices surged 8.6% last month compared to a year earlier. CBS News correspondent Michael George reports.
Milk is up almost 16%. Chicken costs 17% more, and eggs soared 32%.
The Federal Reserve really needs to address this as quickly as possible.
CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger says the Federal Reserve is expected to once again raise interest rates next week, hoping it will ease price hikes. But the effect will likely take time.
How big an impact is this for Americans' bottom line?
Inflation touches every single American. But those who earn less, they feel the biggest brunt.
President Biden made an announcement about immigration at the Summit of the Americas. Correspondent Steve Futterman has more.
President Biden says it's an historic commitment.
20 countries coming together to launch the Los Angeles Declaration on Migration and Protection.
It's the highlight achievement of this week's Summit of the Americas.
With this declaration, we're transforming our approach to managing migration in the Americas.
It's hoped the declaration will bring more stability to migration, including more humane treatment of those wanting to go from one nation to another. Steve Futterman, CBS News, with the president in Los Angeles.
The CDC is lifting a COVID testing requirement for air travelers entering the U.S.
I'm Peter King. The news is especially welcome here in Orlando, the undisputed theme park capital of the world. Orange County Mayor Jerry Demings.
We have a lot to offer in this community as the world's #1 destination for families.
Greater Orlando Aviation Authority says more than 7 million people came here from other countries in 2019. Last year, less than 2 million. The Orlando Tourism Agency says it hopes for a rebound and then some. After 60 million visitors total last year, it hopes to hit 80 million by 2024. Peter King, CBS News, Orlando.
The testing requirement ends Sunday. There's a heat wave in the Southwest this weekend. CBS News meteorologist David Parkinson.
41 million Americans. That's how many people are going to be seeing triple-digit temperatures. As we go into the weekend, it is going to be really unseasonably and dangerously hot.
The inflation report set the market spiraling. The Dow lost 880 points, almost 3%. The Nasdaq dropped 414 points, and the S&P 500 finished 116 points lower. This is CBS News.
There's always something new under the sun. CBS Mornings, weekdays on CBS.
Curtis Lumber in Burlington is a proud supporter of the Central Vermont Humane Society Walk for Animals Saturday, June 11th. The parade starts at the National Life parking lot and ends at the Vermont Granite Museum. Also, don't forget Curtis Lumber will be having their 12th annual Petapalooza Pet Adoption in Burlington Saturday, June 18th from 10 to 3 to find your next best friend. Get details by visiting curtislumber.com. WDEV's Fairness to Fans machine fires up Monday during the midday news service. You can win a pair of tickets to see the Red Sox take on the Oakland Athletics Thursday afternoon, June 16th at Fenway Park. You must be listening to win. To enter, fill out the entry form at WDEVradio.com, then tune in Monday during the noon hour. If we call your name, you'll have 5 minutes and 50 seconds to call in and win. The LaRue Brothers Transmission's Fairness to Fans machine, Monday noon hour, only on WDEV.
Nelson Giacomo Dottora and McQuestion reminds you to attend the CVHS Walk for Animals Saturday, June 11th. VDM Law has been providing valuable legal counsel to Vermonters for over 43 years. From personal injury to real estate, environmental law to criminal defense, corporate law to estate planning, the attorneys at VDM Law can advise you. Visit VDMlaw.com for more information. VDM Law. Experience matters.
Rise and shine with WTEV Sunday mornings. Begin the day at 6 with Joel Nasman and 2 hours of classical music, followed by the Takeout with Major Garrett. A casual discussion of politics, policy, and pop culture. Then it's Jane Pauley and CBS Sunday Morning with stories about the arts, music, nature, and entertainment. The morning concludes with Sunday Morning Swing Time, an hour of swing tunes. Join us Sunday mornings on WDEV AM and FM and streaming at WDEVradio.com.
Want Brady to hear your opinion on the sports stories of the day? Text in at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show, right here on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. Reminder to subscribe to the Brady Farkas Show podcast channel. It's free on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and all of our full shows and all of our exclusive interviews are going to always be posted up there as well. So appreciate Mike Trimboli, the former UVM men's basketball star, for dropping by. That interview already available on our podcast channel, so you can go check it out. And I want to recap a couple of things quickly from that interview before we move on. I asked Mike this question, but now I ask it of everyone. Why, when we talk about the best players in UVM history, why do we not talk about Mike Trimboli? Seriously, why do we not talk about Mike Trimboli? Because, look, I wasn't here for his era, right? So I didn't see Trimboli play in person, but nobody that I talked to mentions Trimboli as one of the best players in school history. And you know what? We should be. We should be having that discussion. The numbers are insane. The productivity is insane. A 4-year starter, a 4-time all-conference selection. He scored more than 2,000 career points. All-time leader in assists, all-time leader in minutes played. Why, when we want to do our Mount Rushmore of UVM basketball greats, why is Mike Trimboli not on the radar of the conversation? I would really like to know. I would really like to know, because we obviously hear about Sorrentine and Koppenrath. The nostalgic go to Kevin Roberson. Eddie Benton's name comes up. If you're looking at recency bias, people will float out Anthony Lamb or Ryan Davis. Even Ben Shungu garners a lot of support. Like, all those names get thrown around in that rarefied company. Trimboli's doesn't. And I want that to change. In fact, I want it to change for both him and Marcus Blakely. They both deserve to be in that conversation. I don't care who you put as number one. Doesn't really matter to me who you think is the best player to ever play in the program's history. But as for the list of guys that should be in the conversation, Mike Trimboli and Marcus Blakely are never on that list. And in my opinion, starting today, they should be. They should be. I mean, what is the reason for them not to be in the conversation? You don't mention Trimboli specifically because his team never won an America East title. You know exactly how I feel about that. When it comes to individual accomplishments and individual perception, I don't think you need team accomplishments to prop you up. If you were a great player, you were a great player. And a lot goes into winning a team championship. How your coaching was, how your teammates were, how the league was at the time, how the league's coaches were at the time. So I don't think that Mike Trimboli needed an America East title or 2 or 3 or 4 to validate how great a player he was individually. When you're talking about an individualized debate of how good somebody is, I don't think that team championships have to prop a guy up, and I don't think they should weigh a guy down. It should just be who was the best player. And Mike Trimboli could do it all, right? He could score, he could play, he was durable, and he could pass. That's pretty darn good to me. That should get you on the list of conversation. If you were being a great player is different than being a great winner or being part of a great winning team. Just because Mike Trimboli didn't win a title in the America East doesn't take away from his individual greatness. He should absolutely be on your list. And Marcus Blakely, I believe, did go to an NCAA tournament, if I'm remembering that correctly, the one where they played North Carolina. I hope I have that right. But, just because he got to one, if I'm remembering properly, I don't think that should prop him way up. Like, great players are great players, and they should be remembered thusly. And I think maybe the other thing that plays into it is people look at it like, well, hey, Blakely and Trimboli, they played together. They're both Hall of Famers. Like, we can't prop up Trimboli because he had another great player with him. He had another Hall of Famer. Well, that doesn't matter. I know we tend to give bonus points to the guys who are lone wolves and the guys who do it with no help, but you can't penalize Trimboli and Blakely for playing with each other. You can't penalize them for having each other. Sorrentine and Coppenrath had each other. They don't get penalized for that. Lamb had help from a really good group of players like Kurt Steidl and Ernie Duncan and Trey Bell Haynes. Trey Bell Haynes had help from those same guys. Benny and Davis had each other this year. Like, there's nothing to hold against Blakely and Trimboli as far as I'm concerned. They deserve to be in whatever top 10 list you have, and they deserve to be in consideration when people talk about the best players they ever saw come through this program. 100%. It is time that we stop looking at the gap between Sorrentine and Coppenrath and the Becker years. It's time we stop looking at that gap as like lost years for the program, and we give these guys their due. Trimboli and Blakely are both now in the Hall of Fame. They deserve it. They very well may deserve to have their numbers retired at Patrick Gym someday, and they deserve to be at the forefront of your minds as we talk about the greats in this program. Sticking on the interview real quick, one more point. I also thought it was really interesting what Trimboli said about pressure. Because in his Hall of Fame induction video at UVM, and I watched it, the presenter said that Trimboli had huge pressure on him to come in and follow the Sorrentine Coppenrath group. Like, he'd come and follow follow the Sorrentine and Coppenrath team, and then kind of keep the program's success going, right? They had just won the game against Syracuse, and now it's Trimboli's job to keep that going. I asked Mike if he felt that pressure during his time in Catamount Country.
I did not. I grew up as like somebody that didn't have a huge like name or huge recognition, outside. So anyone saw me, my whole thing was I had to prove myself through and through. So I always saw myself as an underdog. And when I came into this situation, I had like the target on my own back to be like, you're nobody. So go out and prove yourself every single day, whether, it's in a championship game or it's day 20 of practice in preseason.
One, I love guys who are self-motivated. I love guys who are able to take themselves to that next level. That's first. But second, I believe that Mike Trimboli didn't feel pressure. I do. And the presenter who said he had all this pressure on him, I think he's right. I think there was pressure on Trimboli, but I also believe him when he says I didn't feel it. Like, when you're that young and you're that naive, I think all you're looking at the situation is that it's an opportunity, right? You're just looking for a shot. And I think that Mike was looking at it at the time like, hey, these guys are graduating. I got a chance to play a lot of minutes here. I got a chance to play right away to show what I can do. I don't think he's looking at it like, oh, no, I'm following TJ Sorrentine. I think he was like, damn, there's a spot open, and I got a chance to play a lot right away. So I believe he felt no pressure. But looking back, I mean, there clearly was. There clearly was pressure. The presenter was right. I mean, you're following two of the best players in program history. You're part of a group that's tasked with making sure the program isn't a one-hit wonder in terms of winning a game in the tournament. You ushered in a new coaching era there, the Mike Lonergan era. It was just a whole new era, a lot of turnover. With that comes pressure. So I believe he didn't feel it, but just because he didn't feel it doesn't mean that it was there. And there now is pressure on every group that comes into Catamount country to build upon what's been done here over the last several years. But yeah, Mike Trimboli, a great interview in the Hall of Fame. And I want people to put more respect on his name and Marcus Blakely's name, because what they did statistically and performance-wise was incredible. And they deserve to be remembered for all their accomplishments. On a UVM note, I haven't talked this much UVM hoops in like 2.5 months. I'm loving this right now. But real quick, I cannot wait for the schedule to be finalized for this year. It should come out here within the next month or so, I would think. Like, I got to think that we'll get at least the finalized non-conference schedule here soon. But we have seen or had leaked some of the UVM non-conference schedule for this upcoming season. We know the Catamounts are going to play Toledo. That's going to be a home game. We know that. We know that they're going to play USC on the road, Southern Cal, the Trojans. Cal State Fullerton, I think, is on the schedule for next year. Cal State Fullerton went to the tournament this past year, like UVM did. Fullerton lost to Duke in the first round. I think Fullerton was I think they were a 15 seed, because I think Duke got a 2. So, look, there's a lot of... USC had a deep run in the tournament a couple of years ago. Fullerton's in the tournament. Once again, this will be a good schedule. I'm sure we'll see the usual suspects, the Yales, the Dartmouths. I'm sure those guys will be on the schedule. Cornell maybe. But USC, Fullerton, and Toledo, we know they are all on the schedule as well. It's going to be a different team this year. No Benny, no Davis, no Isaiah Powell. Thinking more, there's at least four guys here that off the starting lineup that are leaving here. They could lose the entire starting lineup here. Finn Sullivan will be back, I believe. Deloney will be back. That's good. You got a couple of guys that transferred out, so we'll see. It's going to be a different team this year. Davis gone, Shungu gone. I think Robin Duncan is going to be back. That, I think, is the case. So we'll see. We'll get more intel on that stuff. But yeah, UVM men's hoops schedule should be coming out here in the next month. I'm excited to see it. All right, we do this every single day. Let's get to Who's Saying What.
Whoa. What did he say?
Mac Jones? Good Lord. Mel Kiper's got to slow down on this. Mac Jones ain't going to work, folks. It's not going to work. He's got to come to terms with it. It's not going to work.
They really said that?
Every damn thing is politics and race, and I'm losing my mind over it.
It's time for Who's Saying What on the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Game 4 tonight of the NBA Finals. Celtics taking on the Golden State Warriors at TD Garden. Colin Cowherd continues to take shots at Jason Tatum this week. Now, what I'm about to play you came before Game 3, so I acknowledge that this is not a post-Game 3 Celtics win comment, but they just got brought to my attention today. Colin Cowherd continues to call Jason Tatum not confident and continues to take shots at him.
I like my stars to be confident. He came out and said, when I heard all those rumors about breaking up me and Jaylen Brown, I started questioning whether or not, I was the guy to lead the team. And I said on the air, I don't like that. Keep that one to yourself. I don't need to see every meal on Twitter, and I don't need every thought in front of a microphone. Keep some things to yourself. Oh, no, he's doing it now again, verbalizing self-doubt. Marginal players think they're superstars.
And Colin continued on taking shots at Tatum.
He sounds like Andy Dalton. I want my guy to sound like Matt Stafford or Joe Burrow. I mean, marginal players like Baker can sometimes get cocky. But if you're great like Burrow or Stafford or Tatum, you got to know you're great. I hear that, and my takeaway is somewhere in him, twice in the last week, he has self-doubt.
So I went and found the quote that has set Colin off. And earlier, or rather Tatum said about 10 days ago that earlier in the season, he questioned himself. He did say he had some self-doubt. And my question for Colin is, why aren't you allowed to admit that? Why is that a sign of weakness? Because isn't insecurity and isn't self-doubt, isn't that part of the process for growing and maturing? Now, if he said today, this instant, that right now, I wonder if I'm the guy, that would be a problem. If he says that right now, he doesn't trust himself to be the leader of this team, that would be different. But the quote was Jason Tatum reflecting upon a different stage of his journey that led him to where he is right now. Why is that something to be looked down upon? I don't get it. We all evolve. We all grow. We all have self-doubt at some point about something along the way. I have no problem with Jason Tatum verbalizing it. This entire season for Tatum has been a season of growth, him growing as a leader, him struggling with the new responsibility of being a leader, him finding the strength to overcome that doubt and that struggle. It's been about his growth and maturation as a player. It's been about his development and ascension into superstardom. And all that comes with it. So, I mean, usually we champion athletes for growing and being reflective and for a maturation process. Why can't Colin credit Tatum? I don't get it. Jason Tatum says, hey, when we were losing games earlier in the year, I wondered if I was the guy to lead this team. And now 6 months later, 4 months later, 2 months later, his team's in the finals, and he knows he's the guy to lead the team. Look, if you ask Tom Brady something now about early in his career, he's going to look at it differently. He's going to reflect. He might tell you, you know what? When I was coming up, I didn't know I could do it. I didn't know I could be the guy. When you go talk to the superstar baseball player that got sent down twice, back to the minors when they got called up, or it took them 6 years to get to the majors. Aaron Judge didn't get to the majors until he was 26 years old, I believe, 25 years old. You're telling me there's not some self-doubt there about why it's not happening for me earlier? Xander Bogaerts, who's now wondering, do the Red Sox really want me? You're telling me there's not doubt and insecurity there? I think it's okay to verbalize that. Every person, every player is on a journey. And everybody's journey goes at different speeds. And everybody hits different benchmarks at different times. And Jason Tatum, he's 24 years old. He is 24 years old. What he is saying that, you know what? As a 24-year-old earlier this year, I wondered if I could do this. Now he's proven that he can. Don't you think Giannis had some doubts at some point? Durant clearly had doubts that he could do it. That's why he went and joined Golden State. So I think Colin has taken some unnecessary shots here. Over the last week, I've heard him say multiple things about Tatum and his supposed lack of confidence. Like, Colin just has this narrative and is trying to find more evidence to prove it. But I think that was the past. And now Tatum has found his voice and has found his place on this team. It's the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. Look, Tatum isn't demonstrative. Not often. He's not loud. That doesn't mean that he can't lead or doesn't lead, right? I think Colin's looking for you to be a guy who is demonstrative. Iverson was demonstrative. Kobe was demonstrative. Westbrook is demonstrative. Like, he's looking for guys to be demonstrative. Tatum isn't that guy, but just because he's more soft-spoken doesn't mean that he can't do the job. And doesn't mean that he doesn't believe he can do the job. And plus, Tatum knows this. The Celtics are they are a team that does not rely on just one voice. They are a team where multiple people are empowered. Smart's empowered. Horford's empowered. Jalen's empowered. Tatum's empowered. These guys all get their shot at being a leader. And I think Tatum has grown very, very effectively over the course of this year. Maybe in December, yeah, you had doubts. And the results were proving those doubts valid. But now, I think he's found what he's looking for. All right. What we will do, by the way, the show is brought to you by Pro Driver Training. That's Pro Driver Training, Vermont's premier truck driver training school. They're online at prodrivercdl.com. That's online at prodrivercdl.com. I came prepared to hammer Cam Newton today. I got to walk back that hammering a little bit. I'll tell you what changed for me. That's next on DEV.
At Union Bank, we've been traveling the back roads and main routes of Vermont and New Hampshire for generations. So when it comes to mortgages, we know the local landscape and the best way to get you home. Union Bank, stay local, go far. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Join Last Time Around the Antiques this Saturday from 11 until 1 for their grand opening at their new location at 4 Summer Street in East Barry. Enjoy refreshments, check out the new shop, and peruse the assortment of quality refinished furniture, from small stands to dressers, tables, chairs, bookcases, cupboards, and so much more. Last Time Around Antiques grand opening this Saturday, June 11th from 11 to 1, 4 Summer Street in East Barry.
Folks, Dan Keene here at Lamoille Valley Ford, where we're still ordering for less. Tell them, kid.
That's right, Dan. Business is cranking here at Lamoille Valley Ford, and we're retail ordering new vehicles for less. Although the factories are going through model year changeovers, we are still accepting orders for the entire Ford lineup of Ford trucks and SUVs. Not only will our customers be at the front of the line when the new models roll out, but they'll be paying less at Lamoille Valley Ford too, and here's why. Right now, when you order your new Ford with us, Lamoille Valley Ford will take an additional $1,000 off MSRP, and that's on top of factory incentives and huge trade allowances. And speaking of trades, I want you to know our lot is jam-packed with more clean, late-model pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs than ever, and we're making deals to sell them down. And remember this, if you need a vehicle today, at Lamoille Valley Ford, we have the largest stock of new Fords in Vermont.
Woo! So drive Route 14, 15, or 16 to Hardwick, where you can order your new Ford for less at Lamoille Valley Ford.
Hi, my name is Jeff Gould. I live in Barry, Vermont, and run J. Gould Plumbing and Heating. I'm here to talk to you about Central Vermont Home Health and Hospice, an organization that is very dear to me and my sister Elizabeth's heart. CVHHH's hospice team cared for my mother, Barbara Gould, a nurse who worked for 50 years in this community at the end of her life. CVHHH's hospice nurses embraced me, my mom, and my family with warmth and kindness that helped us through a very painful time. They explained what to expect as Mom declined and were always available to answer our questions. Mom received the same high-quality care that she valued and provided as a nurse. Elizabeth and I are forever grateful. So please join Elizabeth and I and donate to Central Vermont Home Health and Hospice's Spring Appeal. Your gift ensures families like ours can access the loving care and one-on-one support in the comfort of home and at a time when it matters the most. Please donate at cvhhh.org. Thank
you. The Brady Farkas Show now has an interactive text line, so reach out now at 802-585-3026.
This is Field Yates of ESPN, and you're listening to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV Radio and the WDEV app.
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show right here on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. Little local high school sports news, Championship Friday right now. In Division II softball, Linden just topped Enosburg 5-3 to win the state title. They are back-to-back state champions. Congratulations to the Hornets. You know, if you've listened to this station today, you've probably heard the promo running for this show. And in that promo, you heard me say that I've defended Cam Newton a lot, but I can't defend him for this. I've simmered down a bit on that because I need to give the full story, because it took me a little time to get the full story as well, and I want to share it with you. Cam Newton was recently on a podcast, and he was talking about a lot of things, but he talked about his time in New England, and this is a quote. He said, the New England experience was an effed up situation. I was still learning the offense 7 to 8 weeks into the season. He also talked about going to the line of scrimmage, not knowing what to do. And hearing him say that New England was a really effed up situation, at first, it really bothered me. And that is where, me wanting to hammer him came from. Because I'm like, look, you signed with the team in late June. You knew there was not going to be a lot of time when you got here, and you took up the challenge anyways. Like, Cam Newton could have sat out a year. He could have taken a backup job where he could have slow played his development somewhere. He could have waited until someone got hurt, whatever. But instead, he chose to go to a situation where he was going to have to follow Tom Brady, where he was going in during the COVID time, where he wasn't going to be able to do a lot of extra work, do a lot of work with teammates, go meet the coaching staff early, couldn't be at the facility. And he chose to be in a situation where it was going to be a much, much condensed time period in terms of trying to learn an offense. He chose all of that. So I was ready to blast Cam because it sounded like he was just making excuses. But then I read the full transcript. And Cam said he knows he put himself in that situation. So that is where I then kind of walk everything back. He says, before I sit up here and allow the narrative to be made that Cam doesn't have it anymore, I'm taking full responsibility and saying I put myself in that effed up situation, which then had a ricochet effect to how people think of me. Cam is right about that. I wanted to hammer him. I thought he sounded whiny. I thought he was making excuses. I think Cam was right about what he said at the end there. He put himself in this situation. We generally gave him the benefit of the excuses. And he is right that how he played in New England, which was not well, I don't think it was as bad as everybody else thought, but not great. That performance or lack thereof performance colored how everybody feels about him and what everybody thinks he can do. I think he's right about that. So at the end of the day, I can't be as tough on Cam Newton as I thought I was going to be. That was a hard year. And I will make the excuses for Cam Newton. That was really hard. I would have loved to have seen what Cam Newton would have done in a second year in Foxborough. I really would have. Because I don't think it's fair to say, oh, he was bad in Carolina last year. His Cam was under the same kind of pressure, except worse, in Carolina last year. You sign late. You have to turn it around quick. I think last year was an incredibly hard situation for him to succeed in. I don't think it's fair to knock Cam for what he did in Carolina either. I think Cam Newton in Foxborough would have been a lot better in year two. Would they have won the 10 games that they won with Mac Jones? I thought so. I thought they were a 9-11 win team with Cam. I thought they were 7-10 with Mac. I thought largely they were the same. A little bit of fluctuation on both sides with the one over the other. I thought that Cam could have taken the Patriots to the playoffs. Again, don't know that he would have, but I felt like he would have had it. I would have loved to have seen Cam get a second chance in New England. Again, Mac was good. The team got to the playoffs. It all worked out. For my own eyesight, I would have liked to have seen how Cam would have done. Let's stick with the Patriots now that the offseason portion of the workout portion of the offseason is over. We got some finishing touches here to put on them. Devin McCourty, the longtime safety, he spoke about his free agent process and wanting to come back to New England.
Me and Slate talk about it every year. It's as you get older, you don't know how much teams want you to come play football for them. So I think it was, for me, it was obviously trying to stay here and getting it done. And I think now going into year 13, like that relationship is so easy to conduct and get the business done that it's not like when I was younger, like free agency comes up and you're nervous, you don't know. Like I'm completely calm and sound because like I'm content with my career.
I am always amazed at what motivates athletes, right? I talk about this a lot. Every athlete has a different motivation, and I can't really judge guys' motivations. Some guys are motivated by money. Some guys are motivated by titles. Some guys are motivated by playing time and opportunity. And other guys, they're motivated by comfort. And at this point in his career, Devin McCourty is motivated by comfort. Can we play the end of that again, everybody? Can we find the end?
I'm completely calm and sound because like I'm content with my career.
I'm content with my career. He's already won titles. Doesn't need to go elsewhere to chase that. He's already got money. He doesn't need to go elsewhere to chase that. He's already played a couple of years with his brother And that was a huge thing he wanted to accomplish in his career. Remember, Jason played in Foxborough for at least 2, maybe a third year, but I think 2. He's already done everything. At this point, what motivates Devin McCourty is comfort. That's it. So I'm always amazed at guys who, and just what motivates them. I'm always amazed at it because it's all different. We all want to say to guys, I can't believe you chased the money. I can't believe you did that. Everybody's why is different. Okay? Everybody's why is different. So McCourty is telling you, you know what? I don't need to go anywhere. I only want to play here. I'm here. My family's here. I'm comfortable here. They value me here. I know the system here. I've already got money. I've already got rings. I've already played with my brother. There's nothing left to accomplish. Now I want to play, but I want to play on my terms, and these are my terms. I want to stay in New England. I always think that is cool. All right, we got time for one more Patriots cut here, guys. Can we find the Mac Jones soundbite? Okay, here's Mac Jones talking yesterday about Bill Belichick's involvement with the offense.
It was fun to see him get snaps, or for me to get snaps from him, but we were just talking through something with the running backs, and like you said, he's very hands-on. And, last year, he's more with the defense and stuff, but now it's like, okay, let me show you this. And he's kind of coaching us and coaching the running backs in that drill about the way that they need to get through the line of scrimmage. So, he's very hands-on, and I feel like we've made a lot of growth together.
So Mac talking about Bill Belichick saying he's been very hands-on in the offense. And I said this a couple of weeks ago. This, to me, is a problem. This is a problem because there's not a good ending to this for the Patriots. Let me explain. I believe that what's best for Mac Jones is to have Bill Belichick be a part of the offense. I don't trust Matt Patricia and Joe Judge to bring the best out of Mac Jones or this offense. I do not trust that arrangement. I do trust that Bill Belichick is a good offense. Bill Belichick knows more football than anybody, and Bill Belichick knows what wreaks havoc on a defense. So if Bill Belichick was calling the plays, working with Mac, I'd feel very good about the Patriots' offense. However, what is good for the Patriots' offense and what is good for Mac is not necessarily the best for the Patriots team. You follow me? Because if Bill Belichick is all over the offense and he's making his imprint on the offense, well, now he's not doing that with the defense. Bill Belichick has been around the Patriots defense forever, right? He could ignore the Pats offense to a degree because McDaniels was there. Now he can't. So if he goes that way and he vacates the defense, Steve Belichick can be great and Gerard Mayo can be great. Bill Belichick is great. So now if he goes over here, that side gets worse. That's a problem for the Patriots. The defense, I already think, is the thing that has the most question marks on this team. That would be a problem if Bill Belichick is not involved over there. Then you look at what happens on game day. If Bill Belichick is working with the offense, he's working with Mac, and he's going over the tape and looking at the iPad with him and all that, well, who's throwing the challenge flag? And what about who knows whose injury it is? What about helping out with any of the game day stuff that come over the course of the game? A guy gets injured, we're throwing the challenge flag. We're calling timeout. I see they're subbing this guy. If Bill Belichick is not able to do all of that because he's focused on the offense, then that is bad for the Patriots. So what is good for Mac is not good for the team, and what is better for the team is bad for Mac. If Belichick does what he's always been doing and leaves Judge and Patricia to Mac, I don't think you're getting the best out of them. And this is why it's a problem. I wish the Patriots would have hired a young, up-and-coming offensive coordinator. I wish they would have found their Sean McVay, their Kevin O'Connell, their Shane Waldron, their Zach Taylor, their, Kyle Shanahan. Because the Patriots needed a young, innovative offensive mind. I understand Bill Belichick has a limited circle and he may not trust some 32-year-old offensive coordinator, but that would have been, I think, the play to go that would have helped everybody. We have never had better offensive minds than we have right now in the NFL. We've never had better offensive minds than we have at this moment in history. So I got to think somebody could have come in who's been working with the offense and could have made the offense interesting and better. And Bill could have kept working with the defense and manning the sideline. But instead, Bill decided to go to a group of assistants that he could control, he could overpower, and that he really trusted to let him do that. And I think that was a mistake. It's the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. Napa Morrisville, Napa Waterbury text line is open, 802-585-3026. Okay, Red Sox Mariners tonight at 10:10. Before we get to looking at that, the Red Sox say they might be open to using Chris Sale as a reliever when he comes back. I'll tell you why I'm begrudgingly against that. That's next on DEV.
WDEV is positively thrilled to take part in this year's Central Vermont Humane Society's Walk for the Animals. Join other humans and their furry friends Saturday, June 11th at 9:30 on the State House lawn. From there, we'll parade through Montpelier. Prizes will be awarded for Best Doggy Costume and Best Doggy Trick. Media support for the Walk for the Animals is brought to you in part by Curtis Lumber. There's a Curtis Lumber near you. Find out where at curtislumber.com. Ladder One Grill. Steaks, burgers, brick oven pizzas, calzones, pasta, seafood, and more in downtown Barrie. And BDM Law. Vermont attorneys serving the community since 1977. The Central Vermont Humane Society's Walk for the Animals, Saturday, June 11th at 9:30 on the State House lawn. See you there.
Do you know what people see when they Google you? Search engines don't always get it right. And when they're wrong, it's your reputation on the line. So what do you do when you don't agree with your search results? Call Reputation Defender at 800-401-6681. Reputation Defender is one of the most trusted names in online reputation repair. We have over a decade of experience in fixing people's search results, and we can help you too. Using cutting-edge approaches, Reputation Defender pushes unflattering information down to lower pages of your search results, where few people ever look. We also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, letting you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. You owe it to yourself to take control with Reputation Defender. Visit www.reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 for free advice on your situation. That's 800-401-6681.
You don't get to be the league's all-time leading rusher without feeling some pain.
Pro football legend Emmitt Smith knows joint pain, and he also knows the old treatments aren't the only treatments. Today, there's a natural alternative to drugs and surgery. It's biologic therapies from QC Kinetics.
I'm talking regenerative solutions that encourage your body to heal and repair itself.
Do you have pain in your hips, knees, shoulder, lower back? Want to get your life back? The local medical professionals at QC Kinetics can help.
Call to learn more about this exciting natural way to deal with chronic joint pain.
Don't put it off. Call QC Kinetics. Restorative, regenerative solutions with no downtime and lasting results.
Don't let your joint pain keep you from doing the things you love. There's a new natural solution that patients are raving about.
QC Kinetics.
Make the call to QC Kinetics. Tell them Emmitt Smith sent you.
Call QC Kinetics. 802-PAINLESS. That's 802-PAINLESS. QC Kinetics. 802-PAINLESS. That's 802-PAINLESS. Treatments are not yet FDA approved.
How well does your garden grow? Tune in Saturdays at 12:30 for In the Garden with Peter Burke. Peter and co-host Joel Nashman give you 1 full hour of the latest news, helpful tips, and your calls to talk about what's happening in your garden. It's brought to you in part by Sticks and Stuff and Swanton Lumber. sticksandstuff.com. In the Garden with Peter Burke. Live Saturdays at 12:30. Hear the podcast anytime at WDEVradio.com. Think you know sports better than Brady does? Text in with your thoughts at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in. Brady Farkas Show right here on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. Jazz with George Thomas is coming up next. That will be from 7 until a little after 9. And then Red Sox baseball takes the airwaves at 9:10. First pitch 10:10 between the Red Sox and the Mariners. The Red Sox came out today and said that they are open to the idea of using Chris Sale in the bullpen. The thought process being that the team can get Sale back from injury quicker and kind of help cover up the bullpen issues. So I get the thought process. But I really don't think, I really don't think it's in the best interest of the Red Sox. I'd like to keep developing Sale as a starter, and here's why. If Sale comes back to the rotation, then Whitlock gets to go back to the bullpen. Whitlock has been iffy as a starter. He was great as a bullpen arm. I think he's had an ERA of over 4 as a starter and an ERA of less than 1 as a reliever. I believe in Whitlock as a starter long term, but I never wanted him to throw 175 innings this year. There was always going to be a point where he stopped starting as far as I was concerned. There was always going to be a point where he went back to the bullpen. If that point is mid-July or the 1st of August when Sale is ready to come back, then I would take that. I save the innings on Whitlock's arm. I get back a high-leverage reliever in that bullpen, and Sale comes back to the starting staff, and he can help fill the holes in the rotation. I told you before, I don't bank on anything anymore from Chris Sale, but I think having him as a starter is better than having him as a reliever. If I can cap Whitlock's innings or control Whitlock's innings, and I can put him in the pen, get a high leverage arm back out there, and get Sale in the rotation, I think that is better. And also, I just don't think Sale in the bullpen would work out that great logistically. Like in a perfect world, 100% perfect, the Red Sox would use Sale as their high leverage guy, right? Like in a perfect world, if Sale's in the bullpen, he'd be my closer. He'd throw 3 games in a week. That would be a lot of throwing for a guy we're worried about injury. So that doesn't work, right? Chris Sale warms up on Monday, pitches on Monday. Warms up on Wednesday, pitches on Wednesday. Does it again on Thursday. That's not real advantageous for a guy that you're concerned about. So I don't think that version of bullpen Chris Sale works. Then the other version is you have a schedule. Okay, Chris Sale will throw 2 innings in the bullpen on Monday and 2 innings in the bullpen on Friday. That is fine for him. It's not great for the team, though, right? It's not great for the team. Like, Chris Sale can't pitch. He pitches on Monday, he pitches on Friday. He can't pitch on Monday, Tuesday, or he can't pitch on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. He can't pitch on Saturday, Sunday. So now the bullpen is one man short a lot. I don't love that. Like multiple times per week, the bullpen is one man short. And what if the starter's great? And now you don't need Sale to go in. So now you've kind of burned him warming up just not to use him. I don't love that. I think the best bet for Chris Sale this year is you hope to get 12 to 15 starts out of him, and you go from there. Take your time in getting him ready. Get him ready for, hopefully the middle, end of July. I think Sale's he's getting ready to face live hitters. Like he's still at least 3 weeks away, I would say. At least 3 weeks to a month. He hasn't even faced live hitters yet. So Chris Sale comes back mid-July, let's just say a month from now, mid-July, after the All-Star break, July 20th. He's the starter, 12 to 15 starts. Whitlock's back in the pen. His innings get capped. You maybe go add another arm or 2 at the deadline. I think this is the best thing for the Red Sox, rather. I think this is the best course of action for them. All right, so that's number 1 on the Red Sox topic list. Number 2, this series starting tonight between the Red Sox and Mariners is hugely important to both teams. I think it's more important to the Red Sox. I think it is more important to the Red Sox. It's huge for Seattle. Like massive for Seattle. But somehow I think it's more important for the Red Sox. And look, this is a close debate because I had on Jason Churchill earlier today. I had him on the podcast version of the show, and I asked him what he thought, and of course he said Seattle.
Maybe Seattle just because they're further to go. There's further to go for them. Seattle's obviously chasing Boston for that last wild card spot at this point. I think 3 or 4 games back right now. The standings in front of me, but and Seattle is at home at this point, and they've been trying to play catch up for quite a while now, and they haven't really put together that 7-game win streak like Boston just came out of.
Yeah, the conventional wisdom is that it's more important to Seattle because the Mariners have further to go, and they're at home. I still think it's more important to the Red Sox. If you are the Red Sox, you have to look at this. The Red Sox are 7-14 against their own division. They're 7-14 against the American League East. Your division is much harder than the Mariners division right now. The Red Sox need to stack as many wins as possible up against non-AL East opponents because it's going to be a lot harder for them to win games in their division. The Red Sox are not making up a bunch of games against the Yankees. They're not taking everything from the Rays. They're not taking everything from the Blue Jays. So when they get back to division play, there is going to be more losses there. The Red Sox need to stack wins against non-divisional opponents. That's why it was huge what they did against the A's and what they did against the Angels. They need to take 2 of 3 at least from Seattle and do the same thing. They need to come back on this road trip at 8-2, I think. Because when you get back to divisional play and you are taking on the Yankees and the Blue Jays and the Rays, you are not just going to run through those teams. You are going to suffer losses. You have to come through and win these kind of games. The Mariners, on the other hand, well, obviously, I personally want them to win every game they play. They have a much more favorable division schedule. They have 16 games left with the A's, one of the worst teams in baseball. They have, 12 games left with Texas, a mid-level under 500 team. The Angels, if the Angels are healthy, I maintain that the Angels can be good. But if the Angels look like they've looked recently, and the Mariners have 19 games left against the Angels, there's going to be some wins there. So, yes, well, I think as a Mariners fan, there's a huge sense of urgency for the M's in this series. There is. It's not as important as it is to the Red Sox. It's just not. The division for the Red Sox is too good. You're not pulling in a lot of wins in your division. You're already 7-14. Let's see, you get what? 19, 38, 57. You get 76 games against your division. You've already played 21, and you're at a 33% winning percentage. You're not going to flip it on its head completely. So you got to get wins now when you can. You've got to get wins now when you can. All right, let's see. One more thing here on the Red Sox. I thought this was very cool and very refreshing, by the way. Red Sox lose last night to the Angels 5-2. Obviously, it snapped the Red Sox 7-game win streak. After the game, Alex Cora spoke about Shohei Ohtani's performance.
Obviously, to see him hit a home run while he's going out there for 7 innings, that's impressive. And that's why I keep saying he's the best athlete in the world, because to compete at this level on the mound and at the plate the way he does is eye-opening. It's unreal.
I thought that was refreshing. I thought it was very refreshing to hear Alex Cora be so complimentary of him. I don't listen to what everybody says about Ohtani, but I have to imagine there are people who are tired of the coverage of him. There are people who try to downplay the significance of what he does, and there are people who are kind of resentful of all the attention that he gets. I'm glad that Alex Cora, even after a loss, came out and said what is the exact truth here. Shohei Ohtani is unreal. He is unreal. Alex Cora called him the best athlete in the world. That's incredibly high praise, and it's deserved high praise. Shohei Ohtani is an incredible athlete, and what he's doing deserves to be celebrated. I understand that athletes can't always revere a guy who is their peer, and you can't idolize a guy you have to beat, but I appreciate Alex Cora's appreciation of him. No one in baseball can do what Shohei Ohtani is doing. Last night, Shohei Ohtani threw a baseball 101 miles an hour, and last night he hit a baseball 400 feet. To homer off guys who throw 101 and to throw one at 101 yourself, that is jaw-dropping. That is eye-opening. We, in our lifetimes, have never seen anything like this. Babe Ruth wasn't doing this. Babe Ruth was not the pitcher that Ohtani is. This is fascinating. And I know they're late nights out there, but I wish the Red Sox would play the Angels more often just so we could see Ohtani more often, because it's that good and it's that special. And we're done with the Angels all year now. The Red Sox are done with the Angels all year now. So we won't see Ohtani again unless you just choose to watch him play against somebody else. And that, to me, as a baseball fan, is sad, because I would love to see more of him. It was incredible. What Shohei Ohtani does is absolutely mesmerizing. And I appreciate that Alex Cora has the foresight to understand it, and has the courage is the wrong word, but has the sense of the moment to recognize it. Last night was amazing. I wish the Red Sox would have won. I wish Ohtani wouldn't have hit the home run. But the fact that he can throw 7 innings, 100 pitches, 100 miles an hour, and can hit a ball 400 feet, that, my friend, is gifted. And we got to see it last night. So I hope you were awake for it. All right, that is going to do it for us. I think the Celtics are going to win tonight. I think the Celtics are going to win tonight. My score prediction, 109 to 104. I think the Celtics win 109 to 104. I think there is a chance that when we come in on Monday, we're talking about a Celtics championship. I think it's possible. I would say the Celtics win tonight and Golden State wins in Game 5 on Sunday. I'd say that's more likely, but it is possible. We're talking about a Celtics championship come Monday's show. Red Sox Mariners tonight, 10:10 first pitch, 9:10 with the pregame show. Jazz with George Thomas is coming up next. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'll see you Monday on the Brady Farkas Show right here on WDEV, AM and FM.
VSCCU is a credit union for everybody in Vermont. Our relationship